listen up, y'all. It's the queen of automation, Meghan Donnelly, here to give you inspiration. Founders and business owners gather round. I'ma show you how to build systems that'll astound. Streamline your processes, no need for complicated.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Queen of Automation podcast, where we talk about why technology is only good when it works and how I help you make it work. Today is a really cool topic. We are going to be talking with Tom Wells from Wells Virtual Bookkeeping, a husband and wife virtual bookkeeping team. And this is so very important because we always talk about you should know your numbers. You should always know your numbers. And one of the things I always tell people is that if you're going to outsource anything, because people don't like to math, that is just the plain and simple truth. So we're going to jump in and chat with Tom, and then we're going to talk about how important bookkeeping is, how knowing your numbers is so important, and how Tom and his team help with that. So Tom, introduce yourself, tell everybody where you're zooming in from, calling in from, and we'll get started.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Megan. Thank you, first of all, for the invite to be talking with you this afternoon. So yeah, as you said, I'm Tom Wells, and I'm really the business development lead for Wells Virtual Bookkeeping. We are a firm based just west of Kansas City, Kansas, and I've been in business for about 5 years. And my wife, Sharon, who is really the accounting brain and the initiator of our business, has been in accounting for over 25 years. And then our son, Alex, who actually is based in New York City, works with us as well remotely. We like working with small businesses, a lot of service-based companies, people that do a lot of work with their hands especially, and we have customers across the country. So we're very excited about what we're doing and the opportunities to improve people's financial records.
That is awesome. And I'm super excited to hear you have your son in there too, because family-based businesses I think it's awesome because so many businesses don't have the next generation even interested. I know my kids are not interested in my agency doing anything with this kind of tech at all. So kudos to you for that, because that's very awesome. You'll have a legacy to carry on, right?
Right. No, that is definitely the plan.
So the main reason I really wanted to bring you on, well, there's two reasons, but the first reason is I met Tom in our networking group, the Brand Built community. And so I like to have conversations with all of our Brand Built members just because it's a really great way to break the ice. It's a really great way to get to know one another. And it's just really good for the community, the exposure. And we're all so different inside the community. I like to hear about how everybody handles the operations of their business. So it's been really fun getting to know everybody. But the main reason that you are here is because numbers, right? It is so very important for businesses, especially small businesses, to know their numbers. Depending on what your exit plan is, Darren, our friend Darren, used to talk about the exit plan all the time. Depending on what your exit plan is, no matter what your exit plan is, you need to know your numbers. You need to have really strong numbers, and you need to know what they are and where you're losing money and taking care of all of that stuff. So it's really important, especially for small business owners, to know your numbers depending on where you're going. Well, actually, it doesn't even matter where you're going on a regular basis, on a monthly basis. It just makes your life easier if you know what the heck is going on. And, you hear people who have corporate jobs or jobs that are not entrepreneurs that are living paycheck to paycheck, right? Well, the same thing can happen as an entrepreneur, especially if you're not handling your books the right way. I know I've been there. And I know, you make what I say, you make really silly, stupid mistakes as an entrepreneur. You just do. And we all have done it. Don't be ashamed. But I would love to hear more about how you work with your businesses on a monthly basis, or your wife, your son. And I would love to just give everybody some tips, tricks, like when somebody starts working with you, what should they, what's the information you need, that kind of stuff. Like, let's give people a really good idea of why it's so important to have a kick-ass bookkeeper on their team.
Yeah. What you just said, I think really brings to mind a couple different things for me to begin with. So when you think about the early stages of an entrepreneur's business, they're doing everything, right? I mean, they're hopefully doing their passion, hopefully their passion is making them money. But you early on find out that when you ask someone who's been in business early on for a year or two, and their answer is always, oh, yes, I'm doing fine, doing great. And great. Well, what was your profit margin? That's usually right. That's the answer. And so, when it comes to, like you were mentioning, when it comes to asking, when is it right for a bookkeeping service to come in? When is it right for, well, the right time is when is the need for you to get to a higher level of knowing where you're at? Because it's not good enough when it's not good enough anymore to just know by feel. It'd be like doing your personal checkbook and never, back when we used to do paper checks, but that'd be just like always thinking, well, I always have money in my account, so I'm okay. Well, that's not always true, right? So it's the same thing with business owners. Is at some point in time, two things are going to happen. One is they're going to really want to know the truth, because they're all of a sudden they're going to be figuring out that they don't have enough money either at the end of the month or when they need to pay their quarterly taxes or at the end of the year when they need to file. Secondly is that when they want to make decisions, they want to go to the bank and maybe they want to expand. They need a loan to expand their business. And, the banker's going to have a process. And part of that process is that, we're going to need to see a couple of your tax returns, but we're also going to need to see your P&L, your balance sheet, so on and so forth. And if you can't produce that, then, they're going to send you to us, and then we're going to be getting you caught up, and then the truth is going to come out. So it's going to be important. And I think the win in all of this, and I usually finish with this, but I'll just say, because it's too exciting not to talk about already, is that the win is when you really figure out that you are going somewhere and you're profitable, and now you're ready to make the next great decision because you've got your numbers in front of you. That's fun. That's really fun.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that for a second. And also, I just kind of want to jump back. There was something you said when I want to talk about how with someone like yourself, with your business, how much more expensive is it for you to fix the problem after the fact?
Yeah,
and that's what people get, right? So these things, these types of things, bookkeeping, these types of services this is a service that as soon as you're ready, hire a bookkeeper. Even if you're awesome at math, hire a bookkeeper. Get yourself out of that, hire the expert, because it will cost you way more to fix it when the IRS or whoever says, okay, well, you need to go to this person. It costs way more, Then they're done that, made that mistake, way in the beginning of my business. And like I said, it's through no fault of you. You don't know what you don't know. We're here to tell you what you don't know. Don't do that. We've already done it. We made that mistake. Well, probably not you, since you guys are bookkeepers and numbers people. But, it's easier when it's your own business to get caught up and forget about that stuff, right? Like we're service-based businesses, both your business and my business, and we're so busy fixing everybody else's problems that whoops, then you realize crap. That's why I say bookkeeping, numbers, math, right? The math doesn't lie. This is the one thing everyone should outsource as soon as they have the chance. I would also like to talk about, so you mentioned taxes too, because I feel like there's a huge number of people or a large part of the population that doesn't realize the differences between accountants, bookkeeping, taxes, in the sense that they just assume that it's all one. And generally speaking, it's not. Are you guys also providing tax services with bookkeeping? No. Okay.
No, we don't. Just to address that part, we basically, our handshake and our agreement says in our paperwork that, our goal is to have our clients ready to see their tax professional, whether it's a CPA or other, on February 1st of the next year. And that way you've got 3 months to get or 2.5 months to get your appointment done. And, we use QuickBooks Online as our platform. So it's very easy for a client to give access to their accountant, CPA, the work that we've done. And generally throughout the year, we have a talk or two with their accountant just to make sure that they're seeing, what they need to see, so that makes their work easier. And it's cheaper for the client that they're not spending much accountant time getting their taxes done.
Thank you for
That way
saying.
we take, that way, we're using everything that we're great at and doing a great job, and that lets them do what they're great at, and that's keeping up with tax laws, knowing where things go at the
Exactly.
end of the year, and that way they're getting the best of both worlds. So
And
I
that's
do want to go back to, can I go back to one thing though, Megan, that you mentioned earlier, and that is,
sure.
the whole catch up versus staying current. It's kind of like, if you think of the analogy of a puzzle, that when you open up a new box with puzzle pieces, that would be like not being caught up, right? You don't know where everything goes. You've been that way all year. Shoot, sometimes it's more than 2 years. And so you're taking all this time trying to put all these puzzle pieces together. Whereas if the puzzle is only missing a couple pieces always, that's a whole lot easier. And quite frankly, a whole lot more less or efficient financially.
Yeah.
So the answer to that question is, you want to stay current because you want the information. And that's why it's important to do it that way versus going all year, not having up-to-date information, and then it's going to cost more.
Yeah, I feel like so many people, all of this, the staying current, just again, it goes back to the top of the hour, right? Like knowing your numbers. If you're not current, then your numbers aren't accurate. The data's not accurate.
Right.
And bad data is bad data no matter what day of the year it is.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
the tax thing, I'm so glad to hear you. I'm glad I asked that question, because there are companies out there that do both, but I feel like there really are two different beasts. Bookkeeping and like tax law is a beast of its own. You really want to hire somebody where that they're focused. They don't have that split focus. And and I shouldn't say that because I don't know. I'm not in either one of those, so I can't really speak to that. But for me, I want somebody who's really focused on tax law, right? Like, and can get me the most amount of money back and make sure that I'm not, doing anything weird. And then I want, for my bookkeepers, I feel like you almost have a more personal relationship with your bookkeeper, because they're essentially your CFO, right? Like they're essentially that person that knows your numbers as well as you do, and they're with you year round, all year round, and they are the ones that are cleaning up the finances and making sure the data and the numbers are clean. And when it comes to revenue, that's huge. So it's not
that should be an efficient. I think you mentioned earlier before we started about kind of what differentiates not only us but other really great efficient bookkeeping firms is, it really boils down to communication. You really do become part of what that company is doing because they've made the choice, in our case, to outsource, right? They've made the choice to use a fractional bookkeeping firm like ours. So they're not employing someone internally. They're not having to pay benefits. And with that, they're trusting us to use our expertise to give them great service. And we're usually going to do it for less than what they would have had paying someone internally who may or may not really want to be doing bookkeeping, but is something that they're doing internally. Plus, we not only doing basic bookkeeping like bank reconciliation, receipts in, match it up with your bank statement, make sure it all balances, but we also do APAR and with invoicing. For our clients, we also do payroll. So you really you're getting a pretty well-rounded plate here at a fractional cost versus, paying someone full-time
full
internally.
service. Yeah, you get like a full service, well-rounded kind of services, because that's other stuff too. Like, so I'm making the assumption, and obviously correct me if I'm wrong, that you're focused on kind of high level 6-figure, low 7-figure business, especially if you're doing payroll and stuff like that, because that means you're focused on people who have employees and teams that need to be paid out versus versus contractors, which is a little different. Still the same in the sense, probably from a bookkeeping standpoint, but different when it comes to the end of the year and the tax handoff, because it's not coming, right? It doesn't go out the same way.
Such a process, and it could be such a great process. In fact, we were just having a firm meeting actually just earlier today where we were all on a call and talking about, where we're at, where our wins have been, client success stories, and those types of things. And I think the other piece to what we do that separates us is that really another pillar is our clients need to be willing to communicate with us. So a good client for us is someone that doesn't have to communicate with us every day. It might not even be every week, but they have to be available to ask, for us to be able to ask questions. And then secondly, meet with us every month. We have a Zoom call with every client every month to go over their financials. And if we see anything flaky along the way during the month, we're not going to wait till that meeting. Obviously, we're going to bring it up and say, hey, I don't know if this is right. And can you tell us if it is?
And are you productized so that they're paying you a flat fee every month, or are you hourly? How does that work?
Great question. Thank you. We really do it a different way from either one of those, and that is it's really based on volume. So, when you look at a bank statement, you see all the things that are coming into their bank statement. We base our pricing off of a 90-day average previous. So that way, every 90 days, we reevaluate where they're at. So if the monthly reoccurring needs to adjust because maybe they're ebbing a little bit, then we're going to ebb with them. But, heaven forbid that their revenue increases. And if it does, that means a little more work for us, but that means they're really winning and we might get paid a little bit more, but they're going to get paid a lot more because they're being successful.
Yeah.
So that's what our process is.
And I think the thing to note there is it's when you hire a service out like Tom and his wife and son, you get a team, right? Mm-hmm. So you get 3 people or 2 people in this case instead of 1 employee, right? And it's still going to be more cost effective. But if something, if shit really hits the fan, you have a team of people that are there to help you pick up the pieces and put it back together the right way. And you have a team of people that where, like, in this sense, to me, at least this is my opinion, when you're, again, dealing with math and numbers, 2 eyes are better than 1. If somebody misses something, you have somebody else that might be able to see it. There's so many things that could happen that having that team versus that 1 employee.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be such a huge benefit because especially if you're hitting 6 and 7 figures and it's a whole nother ball game once you reach that, kind of when you reach that level. And if you start growing a team, then like I said, payroll and like all of that stuff, it's just such a smart investment.
It's just such a relationship of familiarity. You really get into a routine. We really like to say, give us 90 days to really get to know your pattern, get to understand your business. And we really do get to understand what you're doing. And then we're really going to shine because that's really where we can really get after it. And we like to throw words around like efficient.
Yeah.
Work clarity is a big word. And I know you do, Megan, if you follow me on LinkedIn, I'm using clarity about every other post because I think that's what we're wanting. If you're a business owner, and we do too, we want it too. We really want to have that clarity that we've got both eyes open and we can see where we're going. And I like to, when I'm networking in person a lot and I get a chance to speak, I talk a lot about a clean windshield. It's really hard to see when the bugs are all over it, when the receipts are flying and they're covering up your vision and you can't really tell where you're going. It's really better when everything's clear.
It's amazing to me that more people don't pay attention to this kind of stuff because no one starts a business to lose money.
Right.
At least,
Right.
if, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess maybe somebody in the
Yeah.
history of time has done that, but
Right.
generally, you're not just starting a business to start a business and, hopefully you're not making any money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the goal is to make money. Why wouldn't you do
Right.
everything in your power to make sure that that's going to happen? That's the
Yeah.
thing that always gets me. And
And
it's
you didn't go into business to, to do what you really want to do, whether it's making something or producing
exactly.
something, to do bookkeeping. That's not, bookkeeping was like, oh, wait a minute, what?
Yep.
But I guess I do. And then
Right.
it becomes something that's either something you dread or is, taking all your time. And you're staying up till,
Absolutely.
we had a client that was telling us they were up till 1 a.m. doing their invoicing on a Saturday night when their family was out
Yep.
at the movies. So there's just a better way. And when you can take, whether it's what we do or, Megan, what you do, off of somebody's plate where they can really go grow their business and do the things that they
Yep.
want to do, it really makes sense.
There's two ways to do invoicing. Okay. First of all, if you are a small business, and when I say small, let's just cap it. Let's say, I don't know, 400,000 ARR and below.
Mm-hmm.
Automate your dang invoices. Why the heck are you paying those suckers? Like, why are you manually going in and sending an invoice out?
Yeah.
I mean, and again, use QuickBooks, use HoneyBook. I don't care what you use,
Right.
but there's absolutely no reason in today's world
that it can't be
you
automated.
Manually sending invoices out. Two, if you're above the 400, 500,000 range, or I would even say, actually, I mean, if it were me, I would say above the $200,000 range annual revenue. That's me.
Sure.
You go hire Tom. You go hire a bookkeeper to do it for you, and then that person is the person sending your invoices. So it's one of those things. You've heard me talk about it all the time. I'm going to get on my soapbox here. You automate, you delegate, or you eliminate. Invoicing is one of those things. You either automate it or you delegate it to a bookkeeping professional, because that is just one of those things that no one should be manually doing that. Like it's just silly in today's world. And it leaves room for human error, right? I mean, let the machine do it. Let the system that's set up to automatically math for you do it, or let the human that's really great at math do. Like, it's just, it's ridiculous.
Right. Or you get all,
you're probably, even with the group of humans, are not auto sending invoices out unless it's an absolute need. But whatever.
That process is a winner. We've had examples with, bringing on a client that had, 10 figures out in invoicing, and it was a fairly small company, and we were able to recoup, half of that just by paying attention to re-invoicing them. So, so it was
especially
a really good story.
Yeah, you forget. You know what? We're all busy. We're all doing things. It's we're not doing it. It's not like these people are doing it on purpose, but you're busy. You get busy, you forget things, and then it's like, I forgot to pay that invoice. Yeah.
We're just human, man. Yeah. We're just human.
Exactly. Well, this has been so much fun. I'm so glad that you decided to come on. Tell everybody where they can find you and follow along with your journey. And of course, reach out to you if they want to know more about your services.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, I really direct people to my LinkedIn page. You can just find Tom Wells, Wells Virtual Bookkeeping on LinkedIn. Then obviously our webpage, wellsvirtualbookkeeping.com. If you put Tom at in front of that, that's my email. That's another great way to reach me. And our process really is to really get to know you, get to know what your business is about, and then really find the pain points and solve them. Yeah, I appreciate that, Megan. Thank you. All right. I appreciate it.
So we're going to put all that information in the show notes too, so people will have direct access to LinkedIn and all of that stuff. And remember, guys, we are signing off for now, but remember, technology is only good when it works, and we help you make it work. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.